You're about to witness a conversation I had with a naturopathic doctor who's
definitely burnout. I feel just overwhelmed. I can't make that much money. I'm trying to transition online.
In the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to show you exactly how I helped her go from that to building an online business that allows her to work just 4 days per week. My name is Uriel Kim. I'm the CEO and founder of Healthpreneur. I'm a New York Times bestselling author, and for the past 20 years, I've been helping health experts and coaches build coaching businesses online without the grind. And this is an example of exactly what happens when you have the right guidance and clarity. So without any further ado, let's dive into the conversation so you can get a behind the scenes look. And I think if you're someone who is experienced yet overworked and you want to help more people with less of the grind, this will be very useful for you. All right, guys, welcome. I am joined today by the lovely Radha Sinha. Great to have you here. Can you let our viewers and listeners know who you are, what you do, and then we'll dive into what specifically I can help you with today.
Sure. I am a naturopathic doctor. I'm also a Chinese medicine practitioner, an acupuncturist and Chinese herbal masters. I also practice a lot of European biological medicine. So I weave in Eastern, Western, and European biological modes of modalities into the way that I treat women's and men's hormones. I started my career, in a lot of chronic illness, but I have transitioned into my personal passion of helping people with hormones. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
I've noticed on your website, you have a few accreditations. So you're very well decorated in terms of your expertise. What specifically can I help you with today?
I think where I'm at in my business right now is I'm trying to transition from in-person to online. And my biggest blocks are definitely burnout, definitely time and where to put my energy and focus and money and resources into for building that, because I feel just overwhelmed by the amount of information that's out there. And then I get paralyzed and I don't kind of know where to go. And then also just time, right? I'm back to back all day. And then it's just me, this is not an excuse. It's just the reality of what I'm dealing with. And so that's why I want your input of okay, where can I go with this? It's just me. So I'm, the house and health and everything, that's me. And then my business, right? So financially, it's just me. And I think also the internal fear of getting online because it's such a saturated market.
So is offline.
Yeah. Right. Well, with hormones too, I think in the health space, there's so much more in the hormone space now with medical doctors, functional medicine doctor. I mean, I think because I've been in that world and I'm so saturated by that world for so many years, it's been over a decade since I've been practicing. And so I feel like I'm in my little bubble. So I feel so saturated. So I think I need help expanding that and then just expanding my own energy field into, okay, what can be possible in the online space. And I really am looking for more freedom as well in terms of living location, which is a huge reason why I want to go online, and for also personal health.
Sure. Do you have kids, or is it just you?
It's just me. I went through a pretty life-saving surgery. I have stage 4 endometriosis. And so I had a really big life-saving surgery a little over a year and a half ago. And I decided to go online because I was like, you know what, this is way better for my health and the longevity of how I want to practice and how I want to help people. I know I'll be able to do it for much longer in my life than I can right now.
Got it. So right now you're super slammed because you're awesome. But now you have no freedom, you're burnt out. A lot of it's one-on-one. You want to transition online for your sanity, for your health, for your freedom. I hear this all the time. So
Exactly. And this is the story of everyone, right? We're all coming from in person. No, I mean, I didn't have a lunch break for 15 years. I barely ate. I barely was able to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? So we're all coming from that space. And right now where I'm like, okay, yes, I can. I've done it for 20 years where I've done 3 jobs and I can do my full-time job right now and my personal life and start this whole new online thing. It's just my body not allowing me to do it. So I need different strategy on how to transition sustainably, financially, and energetically to be able to maintain my health and give good care and be able to be successful.
So do you have any presence or anything that you're offering currently online, or is it still pretty much 100% in-person work on that perspective?
50-50 now, a little bit over actually. So I transitioned into going online about a little bit over a year ago now. And so as the new people came in and all of my old people that wanted to stay with me have transitioned onto online, and it's been great. So a little bit unique about me is that I also do bioenergetic testing. So it's a quantum bioenergetic testing. I use the Lecker antenna. So I get a voice sample. I use that Lecker antenna. I'm able to extrapolate a lot of information about a person. So my plans are very, very individualized. And of course, so not only am I using labs and functional labs and everything like that, I add on that extra layer of the biofield and the energetic body as well to see where the blocks are, right? So that takes me a lot of time every week to be able to do that for my virtual clients. And
sure. And the virtual clients are they all one-on-one, kind of bespoke?
yeah, so everyone is one-on-one. I've been so fortunate and very, very grateful to have word of mouth practice. I haven't had to, do all the things, but I know that's, if I want to grow and things like that, I have to invest in certain situations.
Okay. So first things first, just like as a disclaimer, building a business online is significantly harder than brick and mortar, right? I'm sure you've recognized that, right? So I always like to preface that because the things that we take for granted in a brick and mortar, like people walking into your clinic and falling into your lap or referrals, pretty much disappear, at least initially online. Down the road, obviously, it can pick up as you become, more well-known. But I preface that because there's always going to be a level of sacrifice that has to be had, right? And it's really choosing like which problem do you want to take on, right? And so I like to preface by just making sure, because I think some people, they come online, they're like, yeah, like I want to make passive income and do nothing. I'm like, well, your passive income will be zero. So that's not going to happen, right? So with the clients that are coming, that you're seeing online, are they brick and mortar patients that you just happen to be working with virtually? Or are they coming through like, I didn't even know you had a clinic, I just found you online type of channels?
Both. So some people just refuse to do it. So, I'm still going in, obviously. And I also do procedures. So I'm doing pellets, I'm doing injections and things like that. So those things obviously are still in person. Yeah. But they found me online. They are referred by other people, and all the new people are now mostly online.
Nice. And is it session by session, or do you sell packages, or what does that look like?
It's session by session, but that's where I want to go. Is I want to be able to do like a concierge package or something to work with me for a year or whatever. And I know that I have to structure it in a good way.
Do you have an idea of what you want to charge for that? Or so this would be around hormonal health, I guess, specifically for women?
Okay. So I help women. The guys end up coming to me. Their husbands end up coming to me. Some guys have actually found me online. So I think that it's amazing to help men too, because they're very easy to work with and they actually get better so much quicker.
If they do stuff, right? If they actually follow the plan.
Yeah. And usually when it's the husbands coming in, they will follow it. And then they feel so much better that they end up just following it, and then I end up seeing them less. But I think where I have recently come to is that I was doing too much, right? Like I started my career off in chronic illness and Lyme disease and mold illness. And so I still do that. So I still have a patient base with that because a lot of people are long-term with me. And so transitioning and really niching down is where I'm having a little bit of trouble of like, okay, there's so much hormone stuff out there. Where do I go with that?
Well, hormones, I think, is an interesting catch-all because hormones is more about, I don't know, the system, if you want to call it that, versus the actual problem or condition. Because I would assume there's probably a condition, a set of symptoms, frustrations that your perfect client, let's just say that I'll just say I would recommend choosing women as a starting point. If they want to refer their husbands on the back end, sure. But in terms of your marketing and messaging, it's a lot easier just to speak to one. Because also then it goes into, okay, well, what's the problem that we're solving, right? If let's say as an example, are we talking about endometriosis? Are we talking about menopausal stuff? Is there a specific condition within the realm of hormones that you have the most passion around? Or I'm sure you've helped a lot of people, obviously, but gun to your head, if you had to choose one, is there anything that kind of calls out to you more than anything else?
Specific condition wise?
Yeah.
I mean, Personally, of course, endometriosis, right? Because I've just learned so much and I've diagnosed myself, I've treated myself. Like, there's just so much lack of knowledge out there with this condition. But that's also true with PCOS. That's also true with menopause. There's a lot of, because we're still in a time where people are learning and everyone's kind of transitioning into this integrative world, and a lot of it's being done wrong and things like that. So, that's really my passion. I mean, I see women who can't even take bioidenticals, right? Like the messaging out there is like, oh, you should start bioidenticals at 35. I have a lot of people who can't even do that, right? I was one of those people, right? So I know the knowledge to be able to do that. And that's where I think I need the help is like, do I really need to just do one condition, or can I say just hormones from a business perspective?
It's a whole lot easier. Like I'll tell you, like one of the reasons that so many health experts come to us is because we work with health experts, right? We're like, hey, what stands out to you most about us? We're like, oh, I love the fact that you work with health experts. It's not like my track record. It's not my experience. It's just the fact that we work with health experts, because of the fact that what that implies is you get me, right? Like you understand what I'm going through. And I think that's really important, because you can serve everyone. Doesn't mean you have to, or that you should, or that you can in this lifetime. And every niche, every condition has opportunities. It also has challenges, right? Endometriosis, PCOS, both of them can work. Menopause can work. But like it's really just a matter of like choosing one. And I think the benefit that you have is you have such an extensive background already and a lot of experience behind you that you have the opportunity to use social proof and experience and lean on that confidence where any of those could possibly work. You also have a very personal story with endometriosis, which can make things even more appealing for someone who's potentially considering working with someone, because it's like, not only are you an expert in that, not only do you have the track record, but you actually had it yourself. Those are like boom, 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 all of a sudden now. And then you have a perspective that might be different than other people around some of the stuff you've already mentioned. And that starts to separate you in a very, like every market is saturated. We're not going to find a health market that's not saturated. If that's the case, probably don't answer it, right? Because it means like no one knows about it and it's not great. So not that you have to determine like your niche now, but one of the first places we have all of our clients start, and we work with them on this, is if you had to choose one, what would that look like? Where do you have the most energy? What type of, like, if you could work with these people for free, who would you want to work with? Who do you get the best results for? And there might be a few of those. If that's the case, literally flip a coin, right? Yeah. So the reason that's so important is for two reasons. One is to stand out in a very competitive, noisy landscape, but also for you specifically is on the back end. It's the single most important decision to reduce burnout, right? You have a lot of existing patients and clients in a variety of different areas, but it also doesn't mean you have to continue attracting those types of clients moving forward, right? When we narrow down to a single target market, it allows the delivery to be a lot more streamlined, right? We can build out a curriculum, we can build out a process, and everyone who, I'll just use endometriosis for this conversation. All these women who have endometriosis, they're probably going to go through a very similar process. Would that be fair to say? With a couple individualizations.
I think that is where it's very different. That is where it's a little bit challenging, because like what I have responded to, a lot of my patients haven't responded to. It's very, very different. However, I was thinking about this and I was like, okay, well, there are like 5 things that you have to address with all of them. You know what I mean? Taking things and doing things can be different, but the 5 overarching concepts, you do have to definitely. But again, so I think where mine is maybe this is because I'm not charging enough. I don't know. It's a very time commitment, I put a lot of my soul into my patients, and it's very, very draining to me sometimes. So I have to do a lot on my own back end to be able to get my energy back, right?
Yeah. Right now, what are you charging per session when you do the one-on-ones?
It's $375 an hour.
And then what are you envisioning price-wise? Like, what would you love to be charging for this, whether it's a year long or shorter, like that type of concierge package?
I was thinking about that, and I don't know, because I think with let's say a $10,000 concierge package, I think you have to be fully available 24/7.
Like you do as a practitioner?
Yeah. And
Is that 100% true?
I don't know. That's what the people that I've talked to, they're concierge. So they're constantly answering emails and texts from their patients immediately, which I think I kind of already do. I mean, I answer emails every single day from my patients and I don't get paid for it, right? That's where I'm also kind of stuck of like, okay, how do I even price this out, right?
So think about pricing as the outcome as opposed to your time. That's the biggest shift. So like some people are like, well, how many one-on-ones do I get? It's like, well, you get no one-on-ones, but you'll get the outcome. Is that okay? Right? Or like, what are you looking for? Like more one-on-one with me, or do you want the outcome? So part of it is dissociating your time from their results. And how we do that is we start to really unpack your expertise. And that's why as a starting point, when we have the single target market, we can build out as a baseline a curriculum, right? That everyone goes through. So you talk about those 5 fundamental things, that becomes the foundation that every single one of these women goes through. So now while, you're on an airplane or doing something else, they can still get value because they're still with you, but in a different format. It's funny because my clients will be like, hey, if it's the first time I'm meeting them after they've been in the program for maybe a week or two, they're like, man, like my husband feels like I'm cheating on him because I'm in bed with you at night. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, I watch you on my computer. So like we have a curriculum, they're watching my videos. So they actually get more time with me because of the curriculum than if I were to even offer one-on-one, like back in the day. So it's less about your time and it's more about clarity. What do I have to give this person so they're clear on the next step? Because that's, it's like, hey doc, what do I do? It's a strategic question. What do I do? Cool. Now, how do I do it? And that's really the 2 questions that your curriculum will answer. It's here's what you do. Here's how you do it. And then they do it. And then that's how virtually most clients, in my experience, get better results because they take more ownership of the process. Now, where you come in as the coach or the expert or the Sherpa, if you will, is kind of like, is the nuances, is maybe the one-on-one, the personalization, the accountability, helping them through some stuck, beliefs or limiting moments. But those are not the bulk of what needs to move the needle, right? So when we talk about price point, it's more about what does this outcome mean to this person? Because they're guaranteed they will spend $10,000. The question is, are they going to spend it with you or on themselves? They're going to spend it on a vacation. They're going to spend it in micro payments on groceries, on travel, on something. And it's part of your job is to like, how do you, number one, align with the right people who are willing to make that investment in themselves? Because not everyone will. That's fine. But for the people that are, the other thing that I've realized around price point is very often the people who pay the most don't actually need the most from you. And it's usually the people who pay the least that are like, how am I not getting 24/7 tech support from you? So it's like part of the benefit of premium price is you just attract someone who's, at a higher level in terms of their understanding of, they have to do stuff. You're not here to babysit them. But it also means like you have to set clear boundaries because a lot of our clients come in, they're like, yeah, you have like text access and email access to me. And then you're like sitting on the couch on a Saturday night responding to people's emails, which is crazy, right? So number one is build the business you want to build, right? So if you want to be like switched off at whatever time, if you don't want to have people sending you emails or text messages, you're like, cool, like that's not part of this, right? But we do this instead. Hey, we'll get back to the video in just a moment, but if you're enjoying this content, hit that subscribe button below. It will help me sleep a lot better at night. But more importantly for you, it'll help you build your dream a lot faster. So go ahead, subscribe, and we'll get back to the show. So first and foremost is like, what does the Dream Come True program look like for Rada? Because this is like, your business is an extension of you, right? And this is, you want to build a business from what I understand that allows you to live a better quality of life, to have more freedom, to have, time to travel. So think of you first and foremost, and then ask yourself, okay, now that I'm clear on that, what am I willing to deliver on for my clients? Right? Because I'm sure it'd be amazing if you showed up at people's homes and cooked all their meals and did all this stuff. But you're not going to do that, right? So you have to like get clear on you first. And then it's like, got that. All right, now what do my clients want? What will be a dream come true? And where can I meet them without compromising my own boundaries? Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I'm like, I don't know if this is even possible. And you can tell me if it's not possible.
It is awesome.
I want to work 4 or 5 hours a day, 4 or 5 days a week, or 4 days a week, 4 days a week. And because I think it takes me so much on the back end because I'm doing so much education still. I mean, I'm on top of it. And That costs thousands and thousands of dollars.
You're talking about your own investment in certifications and ongoing education?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the conferences that I go to, I mean, in person and online, it's probably $30,000 a year.
Can you imagine if you invest that in your business?
Right. And I feel like in my mind, I do it. It's like, okay, it's part of my business because this is.
Well, they're technical skills, right? Which is amazing. I would venture to say that you have way more than enough, right? If I said, hey, Radha, you are not allowed to invest in any more continuing education for your personal skill development on the technical side for a year, but instead take that time, energy, and resources on the business side. It's not to say that, and I really appreciate that about you and a lot of our clients, is like, you want to be the best. Like you truly care about like being better and having the latest thing for your clients, which is amazing. But it's very frustrating when no one knows you exist, or when the business is not able to even like match how awesome you are, right? So when you say like, is it possible 4 days a week, 4 to 5 hours a day? The answer is it depends. Depends on what we're optimizing for. So like if we're having this conversation a year from now, what is the ideal business look like? So we have the time, we understand that, but like revenue wise, like what does that look like for you?
I think it depends on the area that I'm going to live in, right? Right now I'm in an area where it's very pricey, right? So to buy a house, even in this area, minimum $2 million, right? And if I'm by myself, you have to be making at least $1 million, right? Minimum. And that's not anywhere near where I'm at. So I feel a little bit lost in that sense of like, maybe in this field, I can't make that much money. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, let's take the limitations off for a second, right? So like if you could dream with no limitations, and again, it's not to say that you have to, this is not like set in stone, but like what would you, without overthinking it, without double thinking it, like what would you want to like bring to life, like financially within the next 1 to 3 years with this business?
I mean, the next couple of years, at least 500,000
per month or per year?
Per year.
Okay, because both are possible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess both are possible.
Yeah.
But in the next 10 years, at least like $1 million, just to even be able to buy a decent house and live in a good area and have a good quality of life. I mean, and I'm talking about like eating organic food and, investing in the health that I toot, right?
Yeah. So there's an exercise that we call the best life number. And if you I don't know if you've ever seen this or seen my stuff on this. So make a list of everything you want, right? House, organic food, everything. Just dream as much as you like. And then you just add all that up. What does that equate to over a year? And then break it down by month. And then you'll see this number and you're like, man, that's actually really approachable. Because a lot of times when we have these dreams, it's like, it's so big. And we're like, there's no way it's possible. And then you break it down, you're like, holy cow, I just need like 4 clients and I'm like, I'm good.
I think I need the practical steps of like how to make this like, okay, yeah, I want to charge $10,000 for my concierge business. And I want to be able to have a small amount of really amazing clients that I'm giving my attention to and have other resources or whatever. I don't know because there's so much out there in the online world and programs and things like that. Yeah. I don't know what is the most compelling and most profitable and best for the client and myself. Right?
Yeah. So as we talked about, we have to narrow down to a single target market. That's like nothing else matters until we do that. So that helps the marketing, speaks to the right people, it unbottlenecks the delivery, because now you can deliver one to many, but even if you do one to one, there's way more leverage. So that starts to buy back your time and energy. Second thing with respect to pricing is it's really just a decision. There's no pricing police. There's no like supply and demand curves. It's literally like, I'm amazing at what I do. I know I can help you if you're the right person. Here's what it costs. And it doesn't mean that you have to start at 10. Like you have to find a point where you are 100% convicted that this is the cheapest amount of money anyone's going to spend to solve this problem. So a lot of our clients, they'll start at, a couple thousand, 5,000, whatever. And then as they get more enrollments, they build that confidence and then they start taking it up a notch. So we've had clients that have gone from, we actually work with a naturopath who she came in, very similar situation as you. She was charging $3,500. She works in fertility. She now charges $17,000. She didn't think it was possible. We're like, hey, just try it. And then she's like, hey, I just enrolled another client at 17. And it's not that she's price gouging. She's not, because these women are already spending this money on IVF, right? It's just stepping into your power and knowing the outcome you're creating for your clients. So the pricing more than anything else it's like an internal game, 100%, right? Also understand the more you charge, the fewer clients you need to attain the same revenue level. So if you want to make 50K a month, as an example, that's 5 clients a month at 10K, right? If you charge half of that, it's twice as many clients. So it's not that one or the other is wrong or better, but that's just something to be aware of. But the bigger thing is, moving toward the 4 days, 4 to 5 hours a day. I think part of that conversation is there's a season of sacrifice, right? Especially as you move, anytime you're transitioning from this to something new, it's like, I have to take a little bit of this off to put it over here. So that might be a few more hours per week out of like the clinical stuff to build the business side online. Because what is going to happen in this type of business is you're going to have discovery calls, right? So you have to have time for those. You have to have time to build some of the assets and systems, but it's about doing the right things so that you're not like, when we work with clients, it's not about, we're going to have you do all this stuff. It's like, no. We're going to have you do less stuff and only replace the stuff with stuff that actually moves the needle. So it's about building the right skills, the right systems, and having the right support to do that. But there needs to be a commitment to saying, for a season of my life, which could be a couple months, I'm willing to put a little bit more in here because I know I'm building something that's going to work for me a little bit further down the road. Does that make sense? So then tactically, there's a lot of little nuances under that, but just philosophically at a high level, that's really where it starts.
But does that mean like, okay, I would see less patients? Because even right now, all I do is work and work out. So I'm like, tactically and practically, how will that work? You know what I mean? Yeah. Yes, I can do less education for sure. But does that actually practically mean, okay, I see less patients, and even though I'm making less money, I'm putting more into this other thing?
Potentially, and maybe not. So I always love looking at what are the assets that you already have. So the benefit that you have is you already have I would assume, an extensive patient list or a list of people you've worked with. I love tapping into that as a starting point. So it's saying, okay, so we've worked together in some way, shape, or form in the past, and it's introducing something to them that to the right people is going to be of benefit. To say, hey guys, I'm introducing this new, whatever you want to call it. It's concierge level. Here's what's involved. It's 10K. I'm taking on 3 women only. And it's like by application only. Like you can literally, without doing anything else, just reaching out to your existing patient and client list, introducing a better or newer offer, because you already have the most important piece, which is the know, like, and trust. So that way you can start to mitigate what normally would happen, which is, as you said, I have to maybe take a little bit more time away from patient work, which means less income. So we can mitigate that by saying, could we move some of these existing patients into this new level program? So when I was transitioning from offline to online 20 years ago, for me, I took it was like an hour to 2 a day. And I said, I'm going to lock myself away at lunch and I'm going to just start working on my stuff. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no direction, but I did something. Then I made the decision to start to truncate down the client I didn't enjoy working with to free up 1 or 2 days that I could build the online business. Now, I consciously chose to sacrifice a bit of income in order to do that. I don't necessarily recommend that, but that was the choice I made. Then what I did is I said, hey guys, so as you guys know, I have this big vision and I'm moving most of my work online. I'd love to continue working with you and here's what this will look like. And I'm taking on a few people at this level. Some people said yes and others said no. And I was like, cool. And that's basically as I started to transition, as I said, we already have these relationships. Here's this new offer. It's going to be like this. And you just need a few people to say yes to that to give you a little bit of, give you some legs, to give you a bit of time as you build this out online. And that's really the first place I would start. And I have, any of our clients in a similar situation with you start is tapping into those existing assets, because that's the easiest low-hanging fruit, if that makes sense.
So where do you practically start? I mean, you must have to have like that concierge program and systems and solutions and newsletters and all of that on the back end going before you launch that and tap into right?
Not necessarily. I mean, this is where I love having this conversation, because I'm like, hey, if I had a $10,000 patient that wanted to work with you tomorrow, would you be like, hey, hold on, I need a couple months to get all this stuff ready? Or would you just take them on, right? Like,
well, that's my problem. That's exactly what I'm doing.
But you would find a way. like, I know, listen, I get this. Like, I got to have all this stuff. What I'm saying is that we have so many brick and mortar clinicians who are like, so tomorrow when you go to the office and someone new comes into the office, are you going to take them on? Or are you like, hold on, I need a couple months? Like, no, like obviously you take them in. But as soon as we come online, we're like, I got to have my like social profile perfect. I got to have the newsletter. I got to have my curriculum built. It's like, no, you don't. You have to be a little bit ahead of your clients, right? So if we're, let's, as an example, building out a curriculum, then you just have to be a week ahead of your clients and then you can build it on the fly. But also you don't necessarily have to have a curriculum because maybe it does start off one-on-one. Maybe it does start off with a very, very minimal amount of, and when I say curriculum, the thing that I look at is it's not about like having a lot of information for people. It's about implementation. As an example, so let's say I'm a female with endometriosis and I decide to work with you today. What is the one thing you would have me do this week to start moving me in the right direction? If I could only do one thing.
Oh, change your diet.
Okay, well that's a big thing. So like if we were to like, so this is part of what we help our clients with. Like how do we chunk that down? What's the one micro habit that I can do tangibly this week that will move me in the right direction?
Stop drinking alcohol.
Perfect. All right. So Yuri, all we're going to do this week as we get started is I'm going to have you stop drinking alcohol. That's it. That's your curriculum. So the curriculum is built around habits and behaviors, not I have to have 40 videos with thousands of hours of information. So when you look at it from that perspective, all of a sudden it's like, maybe I don't need to have everything done. It's like, just get clear on like, what's the first step? Okay. So after no alcohol, what's the second thing?
Stop drinking coffee.
Okay, shit. I don't know if I want to do that. Anyways, but let's just, okay, I'm in, let's do this. So week one, we call this habit stacking. So week one, no alcohol. Cool. So I'm going to just not do that. We move into week two and it's like, great, you've done a great job with no alcohol. We're going to keep that going. And now we're going to stack the next piece, which is no coffee. It's like, okay, so we keep the no alcohol. Now we stack the no coffee. And still, it doesn't mean that this person has to sit behind their computer and watch hours of videos. All they're doing is they're staying accountable to daily behaviors. And the reason they're staying accountable to that is because of what they're paying.
Right.
They might say, well, I heard this on a podcast. The difference is they're not doing it because they're not paying. Does that make sense?
I'm looking for women like me who are busy. I don't have time to watch videos. I wish I could do programs and things like that and sign up for all this, but I literally do not have time. And like, I would love to work one-on-one because then you could tell me, okay, this week you're going to do just this, right? Okay. Next week you're going to do just this. And then I'm like, okay, that is chunking down into like things that I can actually do with the 10 million things that I have on my plate that I am constantly doing.
Yeah. And that's what we do. Like, that's what we do with our clients. Like, even if it's a group fashion, it's like, here's the plan. Like, here's what you're going to do. But it's also how we help them build their coaching programs for their clients, where it's less about consumption and more about implementation. And it's just a different way of thinking about it because we as health professionals think we have to give so much, but you create dependency by doing that. And you start creating clients who start expecting the world because you've already given it to them. And it's hard to reverse that with those existing clients. But it doesn't mean for the new client coming in tomorrow, you can't start like, okay, moving forward, this is what, like, these are the boundaries. That's it. But if you take things away from existing clients, they're not going to be too happy with that. So again, there's a lot of little practical steps to start to like think through, but I understand that people want to make sure they have a good experience for their clients and like, people are paying premium prices. But it's less about like having the perfect platform and having pretty PDFs. And it's really just about keeping people accountable to doing very simple things. And they will, I believe a lot of people appreciate that because when you look at somebody buying a course, as an example, the completion rate is less than 10%. So they don't even get the results because they don't even finish it. And part of the reason they don't finish it is because number one, they're only paying a few $100s, so it's no big deal. But two is that it's too overwhelming. There's too much stuff. They come in to work with you and it's like, okay, all we're going to do this week, and you prime them by saying, hey, you're probably exhausted from all this stuff. Here, it's about like chiseling away at all the nonsense and doing the essentials. So all we're going to have to do this week is this. And you might say, that's it. And then you're basically selling your clients on your methodology. And they'll appreciate the fact that it's simple.
Do you think that for me, like a person who's doing the bioenergetic testing and who has, this type of situation, is it best in the life that I want? is it best to go to a concierge type of model or do programs, or like, I don't know which way to go, right? Like, I think definitely concierge is the way to go for me, because I like one-on-one and I want people who are very committed and who want to get better. Those are my best clients, right? And they do get better. Those ones, 9 out of 10 times, they all get better.
Yeah, totally. You can, well, I mean, concierge or coaching, I mean, like it's tomatoes type of thing, right? So I'm more about what has to be true in order for, number one, you to live the life you want, and two, to allow my clients to achieve the results they want or that they're here for in the time frame that we've committed to, whether it's 6 months, 3 months, 12 months. Whether or not that's concierge or coaching, I don't really care. Like I call it mentorship, partnership, like whatever. But the key again is identifying like what are the essentials, like what has to be in place in order for a client to get a result. Like if the bioenergetics are essential, then they're part of it. If they're not, if they're nice to have, then it's like, well, maybe we don't have to do it. Or maybe we do.
You recommend that you hire, like how do you, when you get to the point of having, okay, I want to have a program or I want to be able to structure all of this out, do you recommend people that, okay, they hire a team or what,
No. So with your type of business, you can get to your $500,000 by yourself and maybe with an assistant. But what a lot of people do is they destroy their margins by outsourcing everything to a social media agency, a marketing agency, operations manager, and then they're still only doing patient visits. And I'm like, dude, like you're basically just bought yourself a job again that you don't even pay yourself from. So our approach is we want you to become as dangerous in business as you are a practitioner to get the business to a point that's very profitable. But again, the thing is like our clients work less because they're leveraging systems and better delivery models. But and again, depends on the price point. But if you're charging $10K for a client, like most of our clients we'll call average about $5K so on a $5K coaching program, around $35K per month is where they start hitting a bit of a bottleneck in terms of I need a bit more support. But at $10K, double that, right? So you're going to be in the neighborhood of 60 to 70,000. You doing the discovery calls, you owning the marketing. But again, the marketing, a lot of it's doing the heavy lifting for you when it's set up properly. And then you get to a point where like, cool, like I'm going to trade some of my profit to get even more of my time back. So maybe I hire someone to help with discovery calls. Eventually I hire an admin assistant, etc. But I see this so often where practitioners they're over hiring agencies or unqualified people way too early on, because they don't want to learn the skills to build their business. And then they're in the same situation they were in, when they first started. So eventually, yes, you want to build a team of people around you. It doesn't have to be huge, but it can depending on your goals. But the most important thing is learning the fundamentals yourself, because no one's going to sell as well as you. No one's going to have your messaging and know your market and your product and your offer as well as you do. And that's kind of a non-negotiable, like, especially if you want, like, especially for someone like you who has the immense amount of expertise and knowledge you have, you want to share that. You want to disseminate that. And there are ways to leverage that doesn't require, you working 24 hours a day. Is that helpful as a starting point? I know we covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think absolutely. I mean, it's things that I knew and that I think for me, it's like, okay, how do I practically chunk it down, right?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, listen, like, again, for the sake of this conversation, I hope this has been valuable for all the viewers and listeners. And thank you for opening the kimono up to your business. And I know we've covered a lot of ground. Yeah, so thank you for doing that. And if you like this kind of stuff, be sure to watch the next video where I'll walk you through our $1 million health coaching roadmap. If you're a health expert, coach, or therapist who wants to grow a $1 million plus business without the grind or guesswork, you're going to want to check that out. We have a free scorecard where you can audit your business, and then I'll show you exactly how to fill the gaps to improve your score and thus the impact you're creating, the money you're making, and the freedom you're living with.